Yeah, it's pretty early on Sunday morning. You can probably hear my morning voice. And I'd like to share what I'm feeling. I'd like to put it into words, but it just seems to be, I don't know. How do you can't make sense. I think we need to try and make peace with that, at least for myself. That you can't make sense. We need to act as if life makes sense, but we can't. I remember a conversation with Raymond Moody, who is probably the leading researcher on near-death experiences. It was a long time ago, this interview that I was listening to, and he was talking about, I must try and see if I can find it again, and he was talking about that, all sense in the afterlife, in a way, just disappears. It becomes nonsense. And I'll just tell you right now, I'm sitting on the bed, and the sun is coming through the window. It's pretty cold here today, and I've just blown out some vape, and it's doing this like little dance. The vape, I don't know what you want to call it, the steam or the anyways, you know what I'm saying. And now it's just dissolved, and but it was doing a little dance. There's another little piece of it that sort of, if you want to call it, it's probably what maybe it's like to be traveling in space. But yeah, it's like the bending of it, the curving of it, and then the slow, as I'm watching it now, dissipation of it or something. Excuse my words, it's very early and it doesn't really matter unless you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, and it's just sort of just, I don't know, gently falling, colliding, moving, and then he's got little pieces of, I don't know what you want to call these things, I'm sure there's names for it. They just generally float in the air most of the time. That you can really only see them in the sun's rays, through a window or something like that. And it's just like a dance. Maybe that's what you can say sometimes, is that a dance doesn't make sense. When you're dancing to music, it's not like a routine dance like Gangnam style. I don't know why I'm thinking of that, or the Macarena. But if it's just a dance for the sake of dance, it's random. As Alan Watts says, when you dance, you don't aim to land up in a certain place in the room, on the floor. You dance, and it happens while, it's the happening is the dance. It's created while you dance. I'm thinking of dancing with somebody as well, in this case. So there is this fluidity, almost, in a way, that's not rigid. It's not black and white, and that is transient. I don't see why other people don't seem to have a problem with this transient nature of existence. This whole Pantas Reis, that it all flows. I don't see how it doesn't trouble people, because everything you touch and everyone you know will dissolve. Your memories will dissolve. Like, I woke up from a dream, I woke up this morning from many dreams last night. Many dreams. And weird things are happening in those dreams that I cannot explain, and that I can't even grasp in my memory clearly at all. And as the day goes by, there will be nothing. They'll no longer exist. Even if I write it down, one or two scenes that I do remember, I might vaguely be able to recall them by the end of the day. But by the next day, I don't have a relationship to that experience that was in the dream, if that makes sense. It doesn't, like, maybe it's almost don't know how, I can't put into words. These things are just too fluid, you know. But you know what I mean. It's unless it's a nightmare. But even my nightmares, if I wrote them down, to try and remember the experience of them, what it felt like to be in that nightmare, is very difficult. So what I'm saying, I can write the dream down, and I was driving a horse and cart down this roller coaster, and my principal was waving me to the left, where there was a coffee machine that was broken, and it was just manufacturing snow. When you wake up from a dream, you can kind of remember the feeling of it, but as the day goes by, the feeling is gone. And so too with life. So many of these so-called great minds, they talk about the present moment. That's all you have. And it's almost like in a motivational talk. It's in a motivational way. Don't worry about the past. The future hasn't arrived. All you have is now. And it's so motivational. It's like, so get on with life. It's like, that should stop you in your tracks. That should halt you. Because it's a no joke reality that it's not a game. It's not motivational. Oh, well, there's only the now. Which is kind of true. And the way that they play it is, well, the now is not made up from the past, which is heavily influenced by the past, which is very heavily influenced by your persona, by your experience, by your conditioning, by your mindset that's been hardwired into you, your coping mechanisms, your the way that you are to a large degree is not who you are, because you were programmed like a machine. Neo, you were programmed like a machine. Even your relationship with life, with God, with death, with others, has all been influenced from your culture and your external environment. You've made very little free choices. What you've chosen, the choice that you've made, is to go down somebody else's path. It was shown to you, it was handed to you, and now you arrived somewhere on the journey, going in a destination that you do not even know that you don't know. You just, whatever the culture is telling me, whatever today is happening, that's what I am doing. That's how am I behaving, and that's how I'm assuming the world is. And that's how I'm relating to people. That's how I'm raising my children. That's the diet that I'm eating. These are the clothes that I'm wearing. These are the thoughts that I'm having. One day I'm supporting Trump. The next day I'm supporting Biden. The next day I'm supporting I'm pro-Israel. The next time I'm pro-Hamas or pro-this or whatever it is. I'm just bouncing around. I don't quite know. Then I'm... that's a poor example, to be honest. That's just poor. But I see it in this country. I see it. 1 minute the ex-president is, seen as a dirtbag. A few years later, he comes making a comeback, and everybody's supporting this guy, and everyone jumps on board. Okay, what are we agreeing to now? What music are we all going to listen to a lot of the time? How are we going to be thinking of cell phones? Some of us are going to, here you go, here's something, get addicted to it, get your children addicted to it. This is what we're doing, everybody. It's normalized. Alcohol is normalized. Obesity, normalized. Antidepressants, and whatever it is, normalized. Depression, normalized. Anxiety, normalized. Death, normalized. The experience of life, church, God, normalized. Standardized, compartmentalized. Mystery, dead. Existence, dead. You are given your walking orders every day from externally inside of yourself. you know, and playing in the world. You know, when the whole lockdown happened and people were losing their minds, not so much out of fear, but it's like, what the hell's going on here? But it was actually also a beautiful moment for people, because the rat race stopped. You couldn't go in to your work. Even if you worried about your bills being paid, it was like, well, what can I do? You know, you couldn't be proactive. You didn't have the same concerns as you do every morning, or the stresses. You know, you didn't have the same day in and day out routine of rinse, wash, rinse, repeat type of thing. We are so hardwired into culture, it's absolutely frightening. And I'm saying the culture of that the older you get, the more you regress, the more adolescent you become, the more ignorant, you pretend and you speak words. These people are speaking words. Anyways, that's not what I wanted to say. But raising their children in it, and then what? Do we not think that time will dissolve, that all will be lost in time? Again, that quote, all moments will be lost in time. I like to say the quote is actually all those moments lost in time, like tears in the rain. Like tears in the rain. That's it. There is a massive part of life that is very, very, let me say it again, very tragic. And to pretend otherwise is putting ourselves in harm's way, is not being, we hear about being conscious. You must be conscious and mindful and present and observe the thoughts and observe your actions, and be spacious and be present and all of those things. Do you understand that it's presence with tragedy to a certain degree? Yes, it's a comedy at the same time. Yes, it's a romance at the same time. Yes, it's an adventure, and it's an action, and it's a thriller. It's all of these things. It's not one of these things. And people are experiencing different things, different experiences at different times of their lives. But most people, it's been knocked out of them, so they're having one kind of experience, one or two kind of experiences. But they're not even aware. Is there any different from their waking life to their sleep life, when their dreams at night? Do the days just not pass on and they forget the memories and the experiences are forgotten about, just like their dreams at night? And really their involvement in their day was not significant. Now, I'm not talking about people that are are having their houses bombed and, going through, really, I'm talking about people like ourselves that have, can switch on a light and can drive down the road and get food, and, there is a hospital if we need it, and those kind of things. Not people that are I don't know, but not people that are also living in some kind of village. There's a lot going on here, but because I can't talk for all, obviously. But what I'm saying is the people that I see and I'm around, and the environment that I live in, which I believe is quite similar to you listening, that this is the cycle that they're going through, that their lives, even my own, that in a few days' time it becomes like, was it a dream or was it real? The significance of it gets lost in time. So what's being preserved here? Hello? You're telling me this is not a tragedy? That it all dissolves, that it all fades away? Your highs, your lows, your joys, your pain, that it all fades away. And what are you left with? And not only that, in the next life, what do you find yourself? What is the significance of this life if in the next world you don't take anybody or anything with you? You're not in control. You can be in debt up to your nose. You can be in prison for life. You can be on death row. But when you die, or let's just say prison for life, when you die, it's gone. You are no longer in prison. The whole setup, the whole state is changed completely. There is no government anymore. There is no morning. There is no nighttime. There is no language. There is no Asian. There is no African. There is no American. And we don't anticipate and appreciate and imagine what it could be like, or try and in-tune or align ourselves with some kind of feeling of what it might be like on the other side. And if we could do that, you see, to do that is depressing. To do that is not being in the now. But it's like almost you're going on a holiday, right? You're going away. Not on a holiday, you're going on like a pilgrimage, Ricky. You're going on a pilgrimage. Friend of the channel, Ricky's been on a pilgrimage. I look forward to hearing about. And it's like you just don't prepare. Like you don't take the right kind of clothes. You don't know what the weather is. You don't see. You just wake up that morning and, throw a few clothes together. You haven't studied the place. You just don't know nothing about it. You're not prepared. Or you're going on a hike. You don't know if the hike's 5 days. You don't know if it's 5 hours. You have no clue. But you just rock up there in your suit and tie and be like, oh, well, let's wing it. And that's what people do. That's what the majority of people in this life do. Because we are so hardwired into entertainment and distraction from the misery and tragedy of our own lives. Because what is your life about? What? I'm saying, like with my brother, what is your life about? What's the significance of your life? You come from a very traumatic, complex trauma upbringing, massive psychological issues, completely removed from yourself, from your source, from your being, from truth, from like you just don't know. It's like Leonardo DiCaprio, one day as a child of 7 years old, was told to play this guy Jack on the Titanic. I'm saying, and then every day he wakes up as Jack in the Titanic, and he plays that role every day, over and over and over again. It's like Groundhog Day. So he wakes up and it's like, got to rescue Rose. Titanic is sinking. Then he falls back asleep and he wakes up again, and then he's got to rescue Rose, and the whole thing just repeats itself in a way. But all he's doing is playing Jack. It's like Truman. All Truman did was play Truman. Although he loved this woman, although he didn't love his wife, although his friend wasn't really his friend, and he felt it and he knew it, and he felt like he was trapped, and he felt like he was a slave, and he felt that he wasn't being seen, and he felt that he wasn't being heard, and he wasn't happy, and he was miserable. And he was one who decided to say enough is enough. Regardless of the consequences, he was willing to die for what he felt to be true in the pursuit of love. What do we see today? People are willing to die for the culture. They're willing to prostrate themselves to become whatever the culture is saying and doing. And of their trauma and their unconscious, their subconscious, and the emotional states, to try and calm them, to try and, because they're so destabilized, and they're just trying to, they hang on to culture for dear life, so it can keep them distracted and entertained and away from their shame and their pain and the fact that they have no idea who they are, that they are absolutely miserable. But they've been even from their conscience, they've been tranquilized. Depression comes, anxiety comes, and yet it's just medicate people, just medicate them to death. So they themselves, in that separation from themselves, in their fear, and again, they have this impression that they have a relationship with God through their religion, whether it's Jesus, whether it's, I don't know what you can get into nowadays. You can't say whatever. I'm not interested, but I'm just saying the religious figures or elders or leaders, and they believe, and I go to church, or I go to mosque, or I go to synagogue, and I do these things, and they really believe it. I'm good. I'm in safe hands. It's crazy. And you're telling me that's not a tragedy in their own lives? You're telling me what are they going to take from life? Or how have they prepared for the next life? For the next life, for the biggest journey. The journey is not just this life. It continues. It has to continue. But we don't think about it. We don't imagine. We don't take the NDEs, the near-death experience people seriously. We don't take illness seriously. We don't take the fact that it all dissolves seriously. We find comfort in the now, and this is now is all you have. So if you can just be present, then you can really live life. Be like, what are you talking about? That's just the tip of the iceberg. That's you know how significant it is. But again, people just feel like, okay, I can just be present now. I'm monitoring my thoughts. It's so spacious. It's so beautiful. Muji, it's so beautiful. And don't think I'm just saying Muji and Eckhart Tolle. Oh man, it's across the board. This kind of thinking is across the board, and it's just feel good stuff. And it's the promise that if you can be present, if you can be non-identified, if you can have non-attachment, that you will, as Eckhart says, and I'm going to do recordings, says he can help you get rid of 95% of your unhappiness. That's what the video is titled. I didn't title it. It's a video. It's one of these short videos. And I can't remember what he says because it's such rubbish. But it just feels good. Like even from the spiritual community, I speak about religion, I speak about the spiritual community, the stuff that people believe in, the stuff that they're willing to align themselves with and believe that they have really, that they're conscious, or that they, even if it's ridiculous. I've said this before, it's what a scam. They have pictures of gurus up on their wall, or whatever it is, and meditate for. Man, I was watching this documentary. I can't remember what it's called. It was about, you see, my memory is terrible. It was about Tibet and what happened with China and the Tibetan monks and the wars, and the monks used to go and meditate for like 3 to 5, 10 years at a time. And the guy who meditated the most, right, was like just seen as sort of something of supernatural powers. He was just seen as a god, almost, not really a god, but he was just, and these guys they would dedicate themselves every single day in these caves. This was serious, and people would come and bring them food, but to have no real communication with them, no real contact. And they would sit and to see how deep they could go and how much they could commit. Now, firstly, from a psychological point of view, that's just crazy. It's just so unhealthy. Okay, so they're willing to commit themselves to something, but I'm not saying that they did it for like 5 years and then they stopped. Like a majority of these guys' lives, they just sat in meditation, in a meditative pose. And then they would do these funny things where they would slap their chests and fold their legs and jump up and try and connect and they do these unbelievable things, and the fasting and just like, positions or like the yoga. And you see these guys in India, these very old guys with the dreadlocks, and he's standing on one foot, which is skinny to the bone, and another foot behind his head, and he's wearing like just a loincloth, and you just and he's got a red dot on his forehead and painted face, and you think, wow, this guy's got it. This guy's got something to teach. Or that one guy I was watching, I think he's an Indian chap. His left hand, to show his commitment to God, he says he refuses to put his left hand down the rest of his life. So I don't know how many years. You can probably Google this guy. I'm not making it up. I'm serious. So he's kept his left, I think it's his left hand or right hand. He's put his left hand up for so many years that it's actually stuck there now. And you must see his hand. It's a thin little stick, that's stuck in the air. They're busy videoing him on the aeroplane. And this guy's got his hand up. I mean, can you imagine that all that dedication? Oh, it's so dedicated. That's so incredible. Really? You're putting the body through such pain, and it's so ridiculous. It goes against anything that's, self-nurturing. I just don't believe it. I just don't think that you should, harm yourself, or that you should limit yourself, or that you should remove yourself from the world, or your emotions, or your responsibility. There's so much to be said. There's so much wrong. Anyway, so these guys, I'm listening to these Tibetan monks. I mean, I'm serious. The guys, like 15 years, and you listen to these guys, and I'm falling asleep. Like, what are these guys telling me? They can really make a difference, or the nature of mind. They're just repeating themselves. Okay, well, guys, you've all discovered the same kind of things and whatever it is. And this guy, he's telling you, he's not supposed to be telling you, but he's going to do you a favor. And he's telling you secrets that have been passed down. He's not supposed to share these secrets. And I'm sure there are secrets, and I'm sure there is legit parts of these things to a certain degree. People that, but like, he's telling me secrets. Oh wow, okay, so no one's supposed to know this, but now you like publicly talking about these secrets to a documentary, a camera. And this was like done in the 1980s or something. Or I don't want to I don't like to, hyperbole, make it seem that it exaggerates something, and when it's not, because that's very bad. Yeah. So what really, I mean, I watched this thing, and I was waiting with bated breath to hear what these masters had to share, and it was like, even the way that they spoke, they just didn't even feel like they were really in touch with that. They were just, I don't know, I felt they were just average, not saying much at all. You see, right now I'm sitting here and it's winter in Durban. Now, Durban is a very, very hot climate. It's a tropical climate. So majority of the time it's very hot with high humidity, and I can't stand it. It gives me headaches. And now I'm sitting on this bed and I got a jacket on, I got pants on. Usually I just walk around with a pair of shorts with no t-shirt, and still I got to sit in front of fans. I hate it. I really loathe the heat. It's just like, now I'm kind of looking out the window, I got my glasses off, and I'm just seeing how beautiful the sun is and the warmth of the sun on my hands. And I can't experience this in that freaking heat. I don't feel very present. I don't feel very grateful. I don't feel very expansive with the heat. I just feel that it's not, it doesn't work for me. And so I'm not looking forward to summer. And I'm trying to hold on desperately to winter, and it's so short, but it's going past every day, and I can't hold on to it. I can't hold on to anything, and neither can you. Nothing can you hold on to. We live in a world that tries to hold on to time. It tries to hold on to things, ideas, answers. Well, they're not really answers. You can't hold on to anything. You are not in control. You are not in control to a large degree. You are in control and responsible for your own life. But we have no idea how much we do not know, and how much more so we are a part of. But I'm working on that. What am I a part of? What do I represent? Because I have issues with this. I have issues of trying to make a difference for myself and in the world, whatever that means. Just trying to have something that is meaningful, and like a life that is 40% love and 60% misery and tragedy. But at least it's 40%. I'm trying to figure it out. And it's not trying to hold on to things, because I know I can't. And I know that life is passing me by like a dream that I had 2 weeks ago. Even my, the parts of me from traumatic that has affected me is still there. But look at Truman when he left the Truman Show. I mean, it was a whole different ball game. It was a whole different kind of reality compared to what he was living in. It was a dream, and he'll look back on that over time and talk about the experience. And because also the world that we're living in is so fast and so much going on, like I'm saying, that's why even when I talk on YouTube, I feel that I'm contending with so many other data and information, other videos, and other people's opinions. And like, again, we're not just sitting, you and me, in nature, around the fireplace for like 6 months at a time. And that's what we can just focus on, what each other's saying and talking and our own experiences. And I'll tell you about my life. And I mean, think about how I'm doing it now. And think about all the other information. Even if you send me, if I'm listening to one of you and you sent me an audio recording, and I'm trying to connect with it, but then also it's like, then I move on to something else, or you listen to this and then you move on to another video. How much of what I'm saying do you really take? How much of it does it really count? I mean, I do struggle with that, of course, why not? Sometimes I do it because I feel, well, I don't really have anything to say that's important. Other times it's what I'm contending with. It's like sharing a very traumatic experience that you've had with somebody who's driving and listening to you while you're talking to them on the cell phone. You phoning them, and they are driving on the cell phone, or they're walking into a shopping mall. And that's what it's like talking to people all the time. It's like trying to talk to people at a train station. And the trains are busy rushing past, and I mean like a train station in India. And people are selling things, and there's smells going on, people cooking, and also like sewage smells and whatever, just horrible. And the heat is like excruciatingly uncomfortable. You're needing the toilet, and there's just traffic everywhere, people, and it's just really noise and hustle and bustle, and scooters, and little mini buses, vans, and then there's it's just crazy. And you're trying to have a conversation with somebody about like, a heartbreak that you just went through, or the loss of a family member. That's what it's like trying to talk to one another in this world today. That's what it's like. I mean, you're just talking to somebody, they're not present in that way, they can't be. I mean, their diet, so much sugar and salt and saturated fats, they don't stand a chance. They just put down their phone from screen time of 45 minutes of scrolling through Instagram and Facebook and watching 30-second videos or 20-second videos or 10-second videos. And all these adverts and everything like that. And then while you're talking to them, their phone will beep and message will come through on a special on Amazon or whatever it is, or this, TV series has just been released, and, and that's where they're at. And then you're busy talking, and they'll be like, forget about it. You're screaming, into the crowd, and you can't. Then you feel that God hears you, that the universe hears you. See, that's what I think, well, gee whiz, how you just get so used to people not understanding you, not feeling you, not resonating with you, not being on the same page as you. And then you think about, like, if you're praying or something like that, Sometimes we do have those moments, don't we, where we feel we're going to wake up one day, like in the next life, and realize this was all a bad dream. We have moments like that, we surely do, and rightly so. we don't know what the transition's going to be. We don't know what the next world's going to be. We don't know if it's going to be fire and brimstone, although I don't think so. But we don't know how the fear that's involved, the transition that's involved, the unpleasantness that might be involved, the loss that's involved, and everything else. You just have one day you close your eyes, you wake up, you go to sleep, and you wake up one day, and really you've arrived, and you'll be like, oh, okay, no, this is home. This is the familiarity. This is the just the comfort, and and this is my being. This is what I've been. This is it. The rest of it was just it's artificial. The rest of it was just a dream. This life was just a dream, and you're okay with that. You're okay with the fact that it's over, and you went through the trauma, and you went through the loss, and you went through the grief, and you went through the despair, and you went through the anxiety, and you went through the melancholy, and whatever. All of these things, you went through the confusion. And yet it's all gone, and your loved ones are still here, or whatever it is, and some of them on the other side, and you're just okay with it. Everything is just airy, man. It's just okay. And we hope it like that. When you're having a nightmare at night, when you're sleeping at night, you wake up and it's like, gee whiz, I feel safe in my bed, And I don't know, maybe my child is next to me, or my father or mother in the room next door, or just something, and just, the smell of toast is coming through the house, and it's just so lovely. That comfort, and be like, oh, it was just a dream, it's all okay. And that's what makes it very hard for me when I do think about if that is the case, and while we're living in this life, and having to pain and go through all the suffering and the isolation and the boredom and everything else, the headaches, the cancers, the low blood sugar levels, you just about name it, all these ailments, all these diseases, all just the suffering, all the pain, the loss. When you get older, as you get older, the body starts breaking down, your ability to do things starts slowing down, which again is why it's so important to find meaning in your life and sort of start that inward journey, which if you haven't started it already, so that it doesn't matter that you're not 75 years old and looking at 19-year-old girls and thinking, wow, how you turned on by them or whatever it is, but you're grossed out by your own body and by your own age and by your own skin and self-loathing, but that you have a positive self-image and that you believe that you have wisdom beyond years and you have experience and you have something to offer people, and you don't walk around like a miserable old fart, Sometimes I feel like I'm a miserable old fart. A lot of the times I do. But yeah, that process of life where we don't take it seriously. So that's what I see with adults. If you want to call them adults, I'm saying adults. I'm an adult. I don't sometimes think of it, but 60, 70, 80-year-old men, and it's you're trying to live like you're 17 years old. Still 17 years old, and you want to think like a 17-year-old and behave like a 17-year-old. And it's embarrassing because, again, what's happening is that, you know what I'm saying. You haven't cultivated a sense of meaning in your life. You haven't used the way to grow through life, where now you're not interested in 19-year-old girls, or something like that, and chasing tail and, whatever it is. You understand, you know what I'm saying, I don't want to get into it, but you know what I'm saying, the wisdom that needs to come with life, that you've grown through the years, and that you feel fulfilled, you feel like a sense of meaning, and, you can offer your grandchildren, if you have any, something. You can offer other people, but they probably don't want to hear it because they can't handle that. They can't look at you and be like, geez, man, this guy's really made something of his life. He really has something to teach and offer others. He really seems like comforted in who he is, and acceptance of this whole journey of life. And it's almost like he has this imagination and this intrigue about what happens when we die. When most of the people say, look, I don't even want to think about it. Honestly, I don't know. I'm disgruntled about life. I never got the beautiful woman that I was promised. I never got the fancy yachts that I was promised. My football team or my basketball team, I basically never really won, enough series of whatever it is. I just had a bum deal, etc. I had a traumatic upbringing. It was abject poverty. It wasn't fair. I want to redo. Disgruntled, bittered, don't really have a relationship with anybody. It's horrendous, and that's everywhere when you go into these retirement villages and old age homes and whatever it might be. That's why, again, I need to do a recording on why so serious. Is life serious? Because on the one hand, you might just close your eyes, wake up, and you're in samadhi. You're in the Garden of Eden. You're in the next life, and there's no pain, there's no separation, there's no suffering. It's just bliss. It's just orgasm, man. That's what it is. It's like looking into the eyes of your lover for the first time. Yeah, think about that. Looking into the eyes of your lover for your first time, and looking in the eyes of your lover for the last time. They all go hand in hand. But the way the world we're living in is just look at the eyes, how the feeling of looking in the eyes of your lover for the first time, and that's all. It's not like that at all. It's not like that. But yeah, so what happens if, like I'm saying, why so serious then? Does it really, it's like a dream, if it just will fade away. You see, that's very irresponsible to think that way, because then we just feel like we haven't got anything to do. And then I'll end up on this point, because this conversation can go on in many different directions. But, so what now? Where does this leave us? If it's either way, we're going to wake up one day, in the next life, without a body, or whatever it is, without your name. You'll feel like you. You'll feel just like I feel like me since I was 3-4 years old. You will feel like you. You see, that's a constant. Like I was saying to my brother, when you even sleep at night, when you dream at night, you still feel like you, although the situation is very, very different. And although that the cows are flying and they have, elephant ears, and it all seems normal, and it's complete nonsense, but it seems normal. Maybe in the next life that's how it is as well. It's just really freaking bizarre. But when you get there, it just feels normal, but you still feel like an essence of yourself. And that essence of yourself is your blessing, is your soul, but it also means that you're separated. It means that nobody else will really feel like you do. There's the positive and the negative. There's the black and the white, So I'm saying that's what creates the loneliness, is that you feel there's a sense in your being, in your chest, in your head, in your throat, in your stomach, wherever it might be. There's a constant feeling of you. Beyond your name, you know it. When you get into bed at night, when you wake up in the morning, it's there. It's always there. Unless you get severely intoxicated or something like that, then something else takes over. But that's something else. But it's always there. Your essence is always there. Doesn't matter if you're 10 years old, if you're 90 years old. It's still there. That's the only thing that remains constant that I have found. Even though it changes and develops over time, it still remains constant. And that's what my point is, what I'm saying. Is that which remains constant is that you have a loving relationship with it, that you get closer to that and a respect for it. And you look after it and you take responsibility for it. And that's a whole nother discussion. Looking after that is by making use of your time here, of making it count right here, right now, for that inner child, if you want to call it, that inner light, that inner being. That's what you need to do, because that's what you take with you. That's what you take with you. Wherever we don't know. What we leave behind, we don't really know. We don't know. We do not know. But what we do know is the feeling of love. We do know, there's so much to speak about. There really is. This can go on for days, for years. And that's what I'm saying for myself. And that's why, I woke up this morning really feeling just sort of demotivated and just heavy. And I said, no, let me go do a recording. And that's what I'm doing now. In order to try and lift my spirits, in order to reconnect with the essence of who I am, to share myself with those 2-3 of you that have made it this far, to bring this into this dreamlike realm, so I can be proud of myself for the journey that I've done and how far I've come and what I've discovered, or not, whatever, or willing to take a stab at. because again, even at the same time, I work with a critic, and she's probably so tired of hearing me saying it, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, but you haven't done really much. My brother's voice, like, Aaron, just shut up and go back to sleep. Just shut up and go clean my room, type of thing. My brother is such a messed up man, unfortunately. He's just so broken in so many ways. He's such a walking tragedy, causes such tragedy in other people's lives. But his voice and my father's voice is still stuck in my head. I still don't take myself seriously or feel like I have much to offer. But that's what I'm working against, So I'm trying to prove myself. And it's horrible. I hate it. It's a tragedy. Imagine walking around like me, but you're walking around like you with your own voices in your own head. That's not giving you an easy time at all, whatsoever. And so the idea is, again, it's pretty simple, is to get through all the weeds and the trash and the garbage and the culture and the self-loathing and the just feeling of not importance and validity and whatever it might be. I need to, but you get what I'm saying. I need to end this off at saying long recording again, so just got to be careful here. Maybe I'll do another recording to finish this off.